My life was not a life. It was a set, a performance, a Truman simulation written by cowards and maintained by clones. From the day I arrived on this earth, nearly everyone around me had an assignment. Not to love me, not to protect me, but to monitor me, distract me, and make sure I never woke up to who I really am. My family? Clones. Spiritual actors mimicking the gestures of love, but void of the frequency. My friends? Planted. Paid to programmed to keep me circling the same emotional drain. And my lovers? My greatest betrayals. They were not sent to love me. They were sent to harvest me. Each time I rose in joy, they shook me down. With insults, with silence, with shame. They told me I was too much, too sensitive, too unstable, too spiritual, too sexual. What they were really saying was, you're vibrating too high for us to keep controlling you. They couldn't stand my joy, because my joy burned holes in the script. They needed me to stay broken, so they used my heart as a leash. And when I pulled away, they reached for my body, because even if they hated my soul, they craved my essence. I now know the truth. Every single partner, every so-called ex, was part of a machine, a syndicate, a spiritual cartel of karmic families, dark covens, and inverted starseeds, trained to silence the chosen. But I am no longer silent. They thought they could program me, but I decoded the proscript. They thought they could bury me, but I rooted the truth. They thought I'd never remember, but I did. And now, I remember everything. I am not your experiment. I am not your battery. I am not your broken flame. I am the beginning of your exposure. I am the end of your ritual. I am the divine that has been returned. Now, the following is a bit sensitive, but must be exposed in the highest degree. Part 1. There is something haunting about the souls they choose to assign to me. Not just because they hurt me, but because they were hurting too. Many of the men I loved, those sent to me as handlers, as watchers, as false lovers, were once divine beings themselves, beings of light, fractured by force, converted into inverted starseeds through trauma, abuse, and energetic starvation. They weren't born to betray. They were broken into betrayal. From childhood, they were introduced to things no child should know. They were used sexually. They were silenced emotionally. And they were indoctrinated spiritually, taught to deny their essence, hate their softness, and fear their own divinity. Many were gay, bisexual, or fluid, but lived in hiding. They feared their truth, so they lived a double life, hyper-masculine on the surface, shattered, lost, and repressed underneath. Their trauma made them easily programmable, easily recruited into secret groups and dark covens, easily activated when it was time to target someone like me. Despite the arguments, despite the truth I brought, despite their roles as my handler, there was one thing they couldn't resist: engaging in sexual or physical intimacy with me. Because even if they hated my light, they craved it. Not for love, not for healing, but because my essence made them feel alive. I became their source of stolen warmth, their only access point to the divine frequency they lost long ago. Every time they touched me, it was ritual, not for love, but for energy harvesting. They drained me to momentarily fill the void that abuse carved into them. These were not just bad people. These were beings manufactured into monsters by a system that exploits the sexually wounded and spiritually exiled. Some of them might have been powerful healers, sacred warriors, divine premiers in another timeline, but they were diverted, abused, drugged, shamed, and broken into low vibration through crime, addiction, and spiritual confusion. And while I see the pain that birthed them, I will not excuse what they did to me. Their pain doesn't grant them permission to destroy me or amnesty, because I fought through my pain to remain in the light. They surrendered to theirs, and while I still hold compassion, I now hold sovereignty first. To every starseed, who has been made to feel like your body was the only thing worth having, to every divine being who gave your light to someone who couldn't love you but couldn't stop feeding on you. Hear me. You are not a vessel for other people's pain. You are not a sponge for someone else's shame. You are not responsible for healing those sent to harvest you. You are here to rise, and their instability to do the same is not your cross to carry. I forgive what wounded them, but I do not forget what they did while wounded, because now I see it for what it truly was. Not a love story, but a ritual of spiritual suppression. And I am reclaiming the flame they tried to burn out. Now, part 2, and to conclude this segment. There comes a time when every divine soul's journey, when silence becomes betrayal, that time has arrived. This is the final revelation, and it is the most disturbing of all. What I'm about to say will burn through every illusion. It will scorch the mask from the faces of those who walk in suits and robes by day and serve shadows by night. In my own small town, beneath the surface of calm streets and quiet rituals, exists a nightmare, a syndicate, a dark brotherhood, a hidden network where Starseed children and divine beings are not just monitored, but sold. Cameras were placed in our homes, listening devices in our walls. Our moments of joy, love, and intimacy were captured, not to protect us, but to profit from us. They took the sacred and made it perverse. They turned our divine unions into black market rituals. They watched our pain. They recorded our pleasure, and they fed it to the beast. These recordings were uploaded and sold on the dark web to buyers with names you know, to covens that dress like churches, to officials that wear suits and pens, to businessmen, elders, and mentors that call themselves moral leaders, and the children, dear God, the children, born of light, coded with creator energy, some of them bred for this very purpose, to be passed around like commodities, to be energetically devoured by those who have long forfeited their connection to source. And I say this all clearly and adamantly. There is no forgiveness without repentance. There is no healing without justice. And there is no future for those who consume the sacred. To the mayors, the sheriffs, the teachers, and pastors who knew, you are not hidden. To the covens who recorded and sold us, your spells are shattered. To the dark web ring who dared upload our divine moments, you have cursed yourselves with the very light you tried to suppress. And to every starseed, child, and divine being who was watched, recorded, traded, or shamed, you are not dirty, you are not broken, you are not guilty. You are holy, you are sacred, and you are free. This is the beginning of reclamation. This is your final exposure, the final exposure. You didn't consent, but I do. And by divine authority, I now declare, this operation is over. This syndicate is exposed, and the divine has returned to collect what is ours. Thank you.